Hello and welcome to MSTieCast. I'm Toby Mobius.
I'm Josh McLeod.
And we haven't done an episode in a little while. There's a reason for that. We have lives, believe it or not.
Wait, what's a live?
Life is that thing that you do when you are not doing the show.
This concept confuses me.
I thought as much. But your name isn't on the website, Lise, so...
Alright.
So we have a good bit of news to go over, because we've been gone so long. The first thing that really should be addressed is the sad passing of Prince Rogers Nelson. But
great one.
The great one. He was 57. He passed on April 21st. Actually did his last show in Atlanta.
Good for you. Oh, well, you never did see it. So.
No, I didn't see it, but just a fantastic, incredibly talented performer. It's weird to know that he's gone, you know? It's
weird.
It's bizarre how many people we've lost in 2016 already.
Well, he was surrounded by a lot of controversy.
Prepare for a lot of those jokes, folks.
Yes.
Just a lot.
I apologize for my Prince impression.
Yeah, so we've lost Bowie, we've lost Lemmy, we've lost Rickman, Bowie. We've lost
Glenn Frey
from
Frey.
The
Eagles.
Frank Sinatra Jr.
He died? Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, we sadly lost Billy Paul a few days ago.
And as much as I'd love to say, well, all things are better, it's just going to go up and up and up over the next few years. More people are going to die.
For those of you who backed the Riff Tracks show, the re-riffing of Time Chasers, the restored cut, the full cut of the film, that is going to be on May 5th. And yes, we finally have confirmation. Jonah Ray and Joel Hodgson will be there. They will be participating in the June 28th reunion show.
They are going to participate?
They are going to participate. Josh noted on Twitter, Josh Weinstein, J. Alvis Weinstein, he noted on Twitter that he politely declined. It wasn't, oh, you didn't even invite me, I don't want to be there. He's like, no, I don't want to.
I guess I should have known.
So basically it was, oh, I don't really want to. Because any chance I get to bust out that Joel impression, I do it.
Yeah.
My Doug Walker approved Joel impression.
It's better than my Mike Nelson impression, which is just me speaking in a high voice, but we won't go back into that.
Yeah, let's are all of your impressions you in a high voice?
Pretty much, except the only impression that I do that's not the high voice is my Shock G impression from Digital Underground.
Oh, now I gotta hear that.
That one actually, okay. Alright, stop what you're doing, because I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you're used to. I look funny, but y'all are making money, see?
That's actually a really good Humpty Hump impression.
Thank you. That's the only impression I can do that even sounds remotely like the person.
It's a good one. I mean, if you can only do one, but it sounds good,
Mm-hmm. The only problem is that I can't sing the line, "Yeah, I called you fat. Look at me, I'm skinny," because I'm not skinny.
Well, I mean, if you're doing it as a character, it's okay.
Okay.
In further Mystery Science Theater news, shocking I know, Volume 36 has been announced. It will contain City Limits, Stranded in Space, The Incredible Melting Man, and Riding with Death.
How many of those have you seen, Toby?
I have seen, I believe I've seen half of them. I've seen Riding with Death, from way back when we did the episode where we discussed movies made out of TV shows. And I think I've seen most of Incredible Melting Man at some point. I could not tell you when. I might have been during one of the pre-Joel hosted Turkey Day specials, because I used to have my Wii modded and I had a Mystery Science Theater channel on there on Shoutcast, and I would just play Mystery Science Theater on my TV. And I believe Incredible Melting Man was airing during Turkey Day, I think just to make people sick while eating.
Yeah.
I have to imagine that was intentional.
If you remember that it made you sick, then I'm guessing that you did see it.
Yeah, it was pretty gross.
All right.
Actually,
I've seen Riding...
probably the best effects of any Mystery Science Theater movie, but used so poorly.
I've seen Riding with Death and Stranded in Space.
We'll have to do a Volume 36 show at some point. Volume 2 has been re-released by Shout Factory. It contains Cave Dwellers, Pod People, Angel's Revenge, and the Shorts Collection Volume 1. You know, all classics.
I will flat out say I think that's the best volume ever.
I'm one of those people that doesn't like Pod People. So
anyone to pick a bit. You don't like Pod People, but even then, you still think it's the best volume ever.
Sure.
Do you have a different one in mind?
I'm partial to volume. Which volume is it? The 20th anniversary edition with Werewolf.
That one has that box set has 3 really good episodes and First Spaceship on Venus.
Yeah, you know, 3 out of 4 ain't bad, and it also has the History of Mystery Science Theater extra, which is really cool.
And the panel with Patton Oswalt and everybody. The last time that they've all been on the same stage. Actually, the only time I think they've ever been together.
I think so. So, I honestly, that's probably my favorite box set. But then again, I only own 2, so take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, apparently people have already gotten theirs. I don't know, but do people like it? I honestly don't know how well Volume 2 was received back in the day. So.
Well, again, you have to remember, even though you don't like it, a lot of people like Pod People.
Yep.
A lot of people like Cave Dwellers. Angel's Revenge is kind of in the middle, and then it's got probably the best shorts collection.
So people like it.
Yeah.
Okay. See, here's the thing. I think this was like released right when I was getting into the show, and so I didn't really pay attention to the volume releases because I just watch everything on YouTube and through other means. So the volume sets like are kind of just my blind spot for the fandom. It's just not something I don't pay a whole lot of attention to, except for like when it's something big, like, you know, the re-release of the movie or the Manos standalone, something like that. Like I'm like, but otherwise, the volume sets just kind of run together for me.
You see, it's weird for me because I never saw Mystery Science Theater on TV, so I actually only know it from the DVD release. And if it's as far as I'm concerned, there's no other way to watch Mystery Science Theater. I can't imagine watching the show with a commercial interruption every 30 minutes. Or every 7 minutes.
See, I didn't watch the show on TV either because, you know, when it was on, I was 12 and did not care to watch, you know, cheesy movies with robot commentary. And as you know, I've famously said, you know, I turned it on, it's like, this is stupid, and watched it at Nettie instead because I was 11 or 12. And that's not really what I wanted to watch. But as I got older and I discovered that, you know, how much I liked cheesy, terrible movies. I mean, one of my favorite movies is Joe Dirt. Shut up.
No, my mom loves that movie.
Honestly, I think that's a legitimately good movie, but that, you know.
Scandalous.
I can even hear that word without thinking of Recess. Anyway. Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. When I got into the show, it was during the YouTube era, so I just watched, you know, the honestly really, really terrible episode rips on YouTube. And this was before things on YouTube could be over like 20 minutes, so it was in multiple parts. Like you had to work for it back in the day.
I'll tell you, it was a sign of the times.
I'm gonna have like a joke counter during this episode. I'm just gonna be like a ding every time you make a Prince joke.
Okay.
Or well, I guess it depends on who's editing it. But yeah, when I saw it was on YouTube, and now it's on TV, which is really weird to me. You know, my PBS station shows Mystery Science Theater sometimes. I think it's just kind of to fill in the schedule because they have it. But my PBS station is also pretty much the Wild Kratts and Masterpiece Theater network.
I like Wild Kratts.
I mean, as far as children's TV goes, you can do a lot worse than Wild Kratts. I also have a soft spot for the Odd Squad.
I don't like the Canadian children's shows, so.
Well, I like Canadian children's shows.
Not really Canadian. Half Canadian.
Pretty Canadian. Created by a Canadian, written by mostly Canadians, starring mostly Canadians. It's pretty Canadian. And as they famously say on the show, Canadians are weird. I mean, I guess if you created the Brothers Grunt, you'd have to be. Going back to the topic, I probably should have brought this up when I was talking about the Riff Track show, but the Mads, Trace and Frank, are going to be in Milwaukee on Friday, May 13th. Yes, the Mads are going to be in Milwaukee on Friday the 13th at 8 p.m. at Turner Hall. Doors open at 7 o'clock. If you want tickets, do the Googles or look in the description to the episode. If you're in the area, I would go. If they were in my area, I would go. But they're not. So, I must live vicariously through you, and then you tell me all about it. Or us.
That's what we get for living in the South.
Yeah, well, you're more Midwest.
Midwestern, yeah. So technically, well, by that logic, according to most people, you're like, well, you live in the Midwest, like Wisconsin's only like 30 minutes away. In the minds of a lot of people.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, how can you live in Georgia and you've never been to Disney World? I'm like, because it's in Florida. It's in another state. It's at the ass end of another state, and it's another state that I really have no interest in visiting. Sorry, Floridians.
But in Florida, they have mountains
of meth.
Oh, you've just offended every Floridian listener of the show.
No, I haven't.
Just like two people.
They know. They're like, yeah, it's Disney and Universal and lots of meth. For those of you who saw the latest Turkey Day special with Joel and the subsequent Kickstarter telethon, you might know Ashley Holtgraver, also known as Christmas Disco Marie Sagan, of the band Freeze Pop. She performed a cover of the Mystery Science Theater theme on ukulele, and then they did a subsequent version during the telethon, and she was also the young lady who sent in a letter during Fire Maidens from Outer Space during the episode, and Joel had her on during Turkey Day, and it was really adorable. Well, her band Freeze Pop has a Kickstarter for their next album, and they've only been going for one day, and they're already at $25,000 of a $30,000 goal. So,
very impressive.
And if you like Rock Band or Guitar Hero, I actually don't know if they're on Guitar. I know they're on Rock Band and the new Harmonix game, which is a reboot of their older franchise, whose name escapes me. What was it?
Rock
Amplitude. And yes, they are Guitar Hero. I was right. They were also, going back to PBS, they were on Arthur. This is what their description on Kickstarter says. We're probably the only band ever to have been featured both in the L Word and the PBS children's series Arthur. Or perhaps you've seen us play at PAX or DragonCon or some random dive bar, or maybe even at NASA.
Well, there was that episode where they had Rafi on the L Word. Remember that?
Remember the episode where Neil Gaiman was on Arthur?
No.
It was a good episode.
I remember that one episode where they had Linda Lovelace. I'm making this up.
Remember that episode where they do a 9/11 allegory?
I remember the episode where Lance Armstrong's there and not everyone hates him like they do now.
Remember that episode with Mr. Rogers?
Yeah.
We'll just start a new podcast. Remember when Arthur?
Remember when Arthur was watchable?
Remember when Arthur wasn't animated in Flash and didn't look like ass?
Yeah. Sadly, I do.
Remember when they had Bionic Bunny and replaced him with Dark Bunny?
Mm-hmm.
Remember when the baby talked and it was really, really weird?
Yes.
Oh, Arthur. Remember when they did a South Park parody? Anyway, so if you want to donate to that Kickstarter, I recommend doing so. You can find it at kickstartfreezepop.com. Like I said, it's already almost there, and there's still 30 days to go. I believe one of the first stretch goals is a vinyl copy of the album to be made, which I think is pretty cool because I think vinyl's awesome.
Yep.
I'm just giving you a rundown of the basic levels real quick. Pledge $1, you get, a thanks. Pledge $5, you get a MP3 copy of their Kickstarter theme song that they recorded. Pledge $10, you get a digital download of the album, which is pretty cool. $20, you get a CD of it and a digital download. And the pledge levels go all the way up to $4,000. If you pledge $4,000, you will get a jingle, which you can use for commercial use, a signed CD, a producer credit on the album, a digital download t-shirt, posters, pins, stickers, an EP download card, Kickstarter. You can hang out with the band, and I think at the $750 level, which there's only one left of at the time of this recording, you can go out to Boston and have dinner with the band, which is pretty cool. Honestly, if I had the money, I would pledge $500 because I want them to cover songs. I'd probably have them do a cover of the Aquabats or something kind of odd.
I'd probably have them cover a version of Cream.
Actually, you know what? I'd probably have them do Tom Petty, because I'm in kind of a Tom Petty mode lately. Because who doesn't like Tom Petty, honestly?
I like him as a performer, as an actor on King of the Hill. Well, then again, I don't like King of the Hill, so whatever.
You stand alone on that.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. So that's it for Freeze Pop, and by the way, we're gonna have Ashley from Freeze Pop on the show in the next episode. So check that out. That's gonna be cool.
She's awesome. She really is great.
She really is pretty awesome. Like
I would die for her.
Should have known. Anyway, that's about it for actual sort of Mystery Science Theater news for now. If anything happens in the interim period between this episode and the next episode, we'll bring it up at the beginning of the next episode. But I did want to mention one thing. In exactly 1 month from now, at MomoCon in Atlanta, which is going to be on May, you get the actual exact dates, May 26th through 29th, I am going to be at MomoCon, and the reason you should care is I have 2 Mystery Science Theater panels, and a third one about Power Rangers. I'm going to do the Mystery Science of Movie Riffing Thursday at 10 o'clock, and Idiot Control Now, which is a basically sort of a clip show type thing where I just show funny, usually out of context Mystery Science Theater clips, like, the Godzilla tail writing bit and all that, and some sketches and songs, and I might still show some of the Kickstarter promotional videos that they put out, some stuff like that. Definitely thinking about showing the clip of Game Grumps with Crow T Robot playing Manos, and maybe even some clips from the Manos game, because my friends have been playing it lately, and I might show some amusing bits from that as well. And that is going to be on Saturday at 11:30 p.m. So if you after a long day of con going on Saturday, which is going to be the most populated day, if you just want to chill out and watch some Mystery Science Theater clips, you can do that. And I'm talking to the anime people who run the anime viewing rooms about maybe showing some Mystery Science Theater episodes of episodes that are in the public domain. So, because I don't want to show anything that's like licensed because they tend to
We
get
don't want to show
mad.
Godzilla versus the Sea Monster and risk getting.
Yeah, it's like Toho just showing up to the con and be like, no.
Yeah. I wish I could go. Could you take me with you?
I mean, I guess. Oh, and if you don't want to go for me, there's also going to be Jim Cummings, Zach Callison, the voice of Steven Universe, Cree Summer from everything.
Nolan North from every video game.
Yes. Little Karibo.
Steve Blum from every anime.
Yeah, Steve Blum, Little Karibo, who we've had on in the past. And if you've seen Star Wars The Force Awakens with the assisted audio captions, he does that. I'm no kidding. You can watch Star Wars narrated by Little Karibo telling you about how sweaty Finn is. It's pretty funny. He actually does a really, really good job. Honestly, if I'm working in my office, that's the version I prefer to listen to, like just like playing audio only in VLC while I'm writing or something. Because he narrates it so well, and I've already seen the movie, so it's not like I have to really focus on the visuals. Oh, and I guess I should mention, speaking of Steven Universe, that comes back. What was the date, Josh?
May 12th.
May 12th. That comes back May 12th for a 4-week event called is Into Deep, I believe, right?
Too deep.
Into Deep, yes.
No, I love you, but... Oh, wait, that's Genesis, not Prince. Never mind.
Gosh.
Get off! There we go.
Can we do a parody of Damn It Janet called Gosh Josh? Let's do that.
What was Damn It Janet?
From Rocky Horror.
Oh, I haven't seen Rocky Horror.
The river was wide, but I swam it, Janet. Never seen Rocky Horror? What's wrong with you?
Not in its entirety, no.
Gosh, Josh.
I'm sorry.
We eventually open up like t-shirts. That's gonna be a t-shirt. Along with You're Alone on that one.
Okay. No, it's You Stand Alone.
You Stand Alone on that. That's
which is actually do you know what I stole that from?
What?
Did you ever see Ega? The episode Ega?
Yes, I've seen the episode Ega.
The sketch where they're talking about the things that horrible things that like aren't that big and significant that led to the demise of society. And my favorite line is Servo says, I know where they're talking about all the horrible things like when the 86 Jards, when I love the line, when Flo first said kiss my grits, I think something inside everybody withered and died. Which, do you agree with that? But there's a line that Servo has where he says, I know I stand alone in this, but when Blansky's Beauties got canceled, and Crow says, yeah, you stand alone. Which, for the record, Blansky's Beauties was a very short-lived spin-off of Happy Days starring Scott Baio.
The other one.
I could never take the place of your man.
I believe the phrase has been more closely associated with you.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
So that's a t-shirt.
Sure.
Anyway, I believe that about does it for this episode, and it's weird because I've actually done most of the talking for this one.
Yeah.
Really unusual.
Okay. Well, hey man, all I can say is, I want to be your lover. I want to be the only one you come for.
On that note, I think it's time we end the episode. Do you have any final thoughts?
It's been fun. Yeah, it's been an interesting past few months. It's been sad. It's been sad. There's been highs. There've been lows. It's really good. Admittedly it's not as good as the year 1999. But other than that, it's been okay.
Well said. Well said. All right. Well, thank you very much for listening. I'm Toby Melbius.
I wore a raspberry beret. I'm wearing pink cashmere. You don't have to be rich. Purple rain. Oh no, let's go. Let's do the bat dance.
And this has been the MSTieCast, and that's enough, Prince.
Now, poopy.